When the pre-production of The Phantom Menace began, Lucas was faced with a dilemma: to continue with the design and aesthetics from the original trilogy everyone already knew and loved, or to start anew and design a whole new galaxy in line with the story he wanted to tell. And George Lucas made the choice just by being George Lucas. In early 1995, design director Doug Chiang and his team started conceiving at Skywalker Ranch thousands of designs for the film. With the script yet to be completed, Lucas gave them total freedom to design just by giving some basic instructions of what he wanted. He then asked Chiang to create a robotic stormtrooper, and so his first drawing for the film, dated January 13, 1995, was of a stormtrooper-based battle droid. However, it was not exactly what Lucas had in mind. As with virtually every concept for the movie, battle droids went through several intermediate stages during its design phase. Chiang later based the droids' proportions on early concepts of their Nemoidian masters, and on the stylized and elongated features seen in tribal African art, making them twice the height of humans in an attempt to make them deadly. And after that was discarded, he made them look like white skeletons in the style of those from Jason and the Argonauts. With that in mind, Lucas and Chiang arrived at the definitive backpack-equipped infantry droid. Once its basic shape was established, he also explored alternate conceptual designs when it came to transforming it for battle. For example, he experimented with the backpack becoming a weapons array, with a second set of arms, expanding body parts, and the ability to fold up into rocket packs and fly. Jetpacks were later dismissed, so Chiang instead gave them air bikes, which were also eliminated, but evolved into the speeder Darth Maul would use. The battle droids were then given jet ski-inspired speeders. Despite most of them being CGI, pioneering techniques like motion capture, full-size battle droid models were used during filming to give eyelines to the actors. They were white, like the skeletons they're based on, but Lucas decided to make them tan during shooting. The droids went through some drastic changes throughout the prequels. So how did they go from being kinda intimidating and threatening to being incompetent and goofy, to the point that it's become their default personality?
What Jedi?
The little ones. Half the size of normal Jedi. They're freeing the prisoners and
There are two main reasons that explain this change. The first one has to do with the needs of the story. In The Phantom Menace, they're meant to be the main threat, so it makes sense that their portrayal is more menacing. It is a stark contrast to Revenge of the Sith, where battle droids are not the main antagonists anymore. Their purpose here is to act as a starter enemy in the opening sequence, serving as comic relief before the movie sets a darker tone.
Drop your weapon. I said drop them. Roger.
Episode 3 basically became the definitive movie of the saga, as it was planned to be the last Star Wars movie at the time. Therefore, every piece of media released after it basically uses its branding, a fact that was reinforced by the battle droid's portrayal in the Clone Wars animated show.
Oh no, not these guys again. Grenade prime. Goodbye, grenade. Oh no, and I just got promoted. But I just got promoted.
The second reason for the change in battle droids responds to George Lucas's plan. The B-1 battle droid model was mainly used for infantry purposes, being manufactured by the thousands. Early units used by the Trade Federation were slaved to a central computer, allowing to save production costs but preventing the droids from developing independent thought. And by the time we got to the Clone Wars, their not very sophisticated CPU was already malfunctioning.
And be sure not to drop it. Whoa!
But learning from the destruction of the droid control ship, all B-1 units, now under the management of the Confederacy of Independent Systems, got a significant upgrade.
No expense.
This allowed them to operate and think independently of the central computer, so these new models saw themselves as superior to those early units.
Look, it's RB-551. No wonder he got blasted. He's one of those older models programmed by a central computer. Not us. We're independent thinkers. Roger.
But despite that being done to make them more efficient in battle to counter the clones' creative thinking, the immediate result was that they developed quirky personalities.
commander now.
In consequence, battle droids became some of the most humorous characters in the Star Wars universe, to the point that experienced military officers, like General Grievous, continuously grew angry at them.
Stupid battle droids!
But beyond the comic relief, the new sentient and self-aware droids realized that they were being used as simply blaster fodder, being unable to do much about it. This prompted some very tragic scenarios.
OM5, are you still there? Yes, I think I'm right next to you. Where is Lord Poggle taking us? OM5? OM5! Yes, sir. Right away, sir. Don't leave me.
Furthermore, they've seen questioning orders that, for example, would mean the destruction of more comrades. Again, they can't do much about it, but one can see their disappointment in these situations.
This is taking too long. Destroy that cruiser.
But, sir, there are still hundreds of droids on board.
I don't care.
Roger, roger.
A key aspect in their evolution is the voice, as it goes in line with their character. In Episode 1, battle droids have a low robot-type voice without any personality or emotion.
My troops are in position to begin searching the swamps for these rumored
And in Revenge of the Sith, they have a more wacky, high-pitched, and nasally voice.
General, we found the Jedi. They're in hallway 328. We're leveling out, sir.
Even the super battle droids have it, though it was replaced in later Star Wars projects to make them more intimidating.
You stupid little astro droid.
Affirmative. Target fauna escaped.
Given their limited individual role throughout the trilogy, the voices of battle droids are mostly uncredited. We know, however, that Peter Serafinowicz, the original voice of Darth Maul, played Commander OM9.
Down here, sir. We'll find them.
But the most recognizable droid voice by far is the one provided by Matthew Wood, sound editor during the prequels. He started his voice cameos by dubbing Odie Mandrell, Megaloof, Saboka, some random battle droids in Attack of the Clones,
My legs aren't moving. I must need maintenance.
and of course General Grievous.
You are doomed.
Wood became the counterpart of D. Bradley Baker, voicing every battle droid ever since the prequels, and continues giving us unparalleled moments to this day.
I would leave the hyperdrive of this ship unguarded?
I thought the hyperdrive was fixed.
The navicomputer is heading us right into the moon.
Fools! Reset the navicomputer!
Quick, reset the navicomputer.
No! Reset it! Reset it!